Hey everybody, it's Rolly. And so today we are on day 19 of our soulful journey. So we are getting there to the end. So we are well past halfway. And so I am really happy to see those of you who have continued on and who have continued to comment and shared and really looking forward to some more feedback as to how things are continuing to happen. And so the what we're going to be talking about today is sustainable optimism. And so there is a huge difference between being able to be optimistic about things versus just everything is always rosy, right? So you may have met people like that is like, oh, nothing in my life is ever wrong. Everything is always great. Whenever you ask somebody how they're doing, life is always like the best. And there's nothing wrong with having that optimism, but being able to be honest about what it is that's going on is actually going to help you being able to maintain that optimism. So for example, so one of the things is that generally, for the most part, is that I generally look at life and anything that's going on in my life as with the glass half full. And so when I look at the glass, it's half full versus that negativity of like there's only half left, right? So it's that part of the optimism that you're actually looking at. So it's about being able to find that balance. And one of the things, and this was a couple years ago that somebody actually made this comment and made this statement, is that in order for us to be able to appreciate the good, we need to see some of the bad, right? So like there needs to be that balance. It can't just all be all or nothing. And so it's just really important for us to be able to have that opportunity to be able to see, be able to see the different areas that are going on in our lives and being able to see how things aren't always rosy, but that we can actually find the silver lining in whatever it is that's going on. And so sometimes that's a little bit more challenging than others, depending on the circumstances and what it is that's going on. But there usually is a silver lining to all the things that we have going on. And sometimes we can't see that silver lining in that particular moment. So it's not like if you have somebody who has been ill for some time and the response that a lot of people will make is like, oh, well, they're in a good place now. Okay, well, are they? So that doesn't make me feel any better. Like, so yeah, that's great that they're not suffering anymore, but now I'm suffering a loss. And so, so like there's that part of things. So again, there's the good with the bad. And so like it's not all, so yeah, maybe they're not suffering anymore, but when we lose somebody, we are, and we have to move through that process. And there is still that sometimes is a very good way of looking at it for, in some cases, that is really helpful. So like I know that even though I miss my dad terribly, when my dad did pass, it was like he isn't suffering anymore. And that was really legit for me. Whereas if you would have said that to one of my sisters, one of my other sisters, they may not have seen it that way. I don't know. But they may not necessarily have seen it in that same light. But I saw it from that perspective. I saw it from that challenge. And so it all depends on what it is that's happening, what's going on. And so when my great nephew died after 8 days, I know that was terribly sad, and like nobody ever wants to have to go through that experience and wouldn't wish that on anybody. However, my niece's mom, my best friend, said to her, or said to me that one of the things that was incredible was how this little wonder brought everybody together, and there was some cohesion and there was some getting along, and there was some people who hadn't talked to each other for a long time that were able to get together. And it was short-lived because then everything kind of moved apart. But for that short moment, for those 8 days, it was that everybody coming together and holding some strength. And so that was the optimistic part of losing her grandson. And so it's just a different way and a different approach of looking at things. And so, yes, it's horrible. And her daughter went through very horrible emotions. And if you talk to her daughter now, she still goes through horrible emotions when it comes to that loss. However, it is that where everybody got to come together and was there. So the siblings were all there, the parents were there, and so they were able to like have these moments that had they've not been able to have some sort of optimism about him, of him getting well, and even when they didn't, and that even when they knew that he wasn't no longer going to get well, then it was that matter of like pulling all together. And so like that's that part of that optimism. And I love how Trey looked at that, is that, okay, well, it brought everybody together, right? Because that's not a way that all of us can see something that's happening when we are in the thick of it. And maybe depending on what's going on, you may never see that optimistic part of whatever it is. So it's being able to hold on to memories and being able to still have that optimistic view of our own life and the lessons that we've learned and how we're actually going to be able to move forward. And I think it was a couple of days ago that we talked about the resilience, right? So like this is that resilience, and being able to like look at things from a different perspective really makes a huge difference. However, it is really important when we're looking at being optimistic that we are looking at being realistic, right? So when we are looking at the optimistic, so if, for example, we are in a domestic violent relationship and we're like, oh yeah, well, I'm optimistic that things are going to get better, chances are they're not going to get better, and you need to get out of that relationship. So that is not realistic optimism, right? So that is completely unrealistic. The person's not going to change. They're not going to just miraculously wake up one morning and everything's going to be great. You need to keep yourself safe. And so I have seen where somebody has left a domestic violent relationship where the person who was being the abuser, when they got in a relationship with someone else, they were able to actually get into a healthy relationship with the other person, because they would have done the work that they needed to do. But however, when they were in that other relationship, that just wasn't going to happen. And so it's just a matter of taking a look at things and figuring out what's going to happen and being able to bring that to light. And so one of the other parts of one of the other really important points to optimism is the fact that there's a ripple effect, right? So like when Trey explained to me that like, oh, it was really nice that everybody come together, and like this little angel brought everybody to closer and was able to maintain some relationships and was able to repair some things, even for the short term. It was like, okay, so it's that ripple effect. So like being able to look at it from that perspective allowed me to be able to feel better about the loss that they were grieving. And again, not because the loss was any less important than what was going on. However, it was that, and I'm saying however a lot today, but being able to bring things together is really helpful. And so one of the things that I want to do is invite you to join me on November 25th. I am going to do a 30-day optimism challenge. So watch for the sign up link. It's free, but there is a sign up link for you to be able to participate in it. And so what you will get from a physical perspective is that you'll get a worksheet, as well as a workbook, I should say, for the 30 days, as well as you will have access to, like, you'll receive a reminder and the website portal, which will allow you to be able to go in and daily see the prompts and be able to chat with the others that are in the group during that time frame. And so that is one of the things that are going to go on, and I'll explain a little bit more about that as we get closer. So but that is November 25th. And if you're interested, or if you would like, I have a sustainable optimism worksheet that can actually help you identify some areas. So if you're interested in that, info@rollyalair.ca, and I will get that off to you. And the end of this week, there will be a portal for all of these challenges as well. So if you are catching the replay, it is likely that you already have access. So just let me know if you want access and we will get that too. Anyway, on that note, I will talk soon. Bye for now.